Welcome to the Farming Without the Bank podcast, the show with a no BS approach to money, hosted by a farm strategy expert and authorized IBC practitioner. Join us as we get real and expose the flaws of traditional financial institutions in order to help farmers take control of their finances, create peace of mind, grow their wealth, and leave a legacy. Now, here's your host, Mary Jo Ehrman.
Welcome to today's podcast. We're going to talk about diversification, and not diversification of asset classes or within an asset class, but diversification outside of asset classes. And I have some clients from Florida who have done exactly that. And I think that we need to think more about that when we are coming up to challenges in the farming industry. Do we want to start a pumpkin patch? Do we need to start a store? Do we need to start a winery? What do we need to do to bring in some income that's maybe not generated from the actual commodity prices, but it's generated from something else that we're doing to help our clients, to help our customers, whatever it is that you're doing? And my clients in Florida own Joshua Citrus, and they have their own groves. They have their own citrus store. They do tours. They're planting strawberries so that they can have people come out and pick them. And so I just want to share a little bit about their history. Well, let's be honest. They're going to share about their history of how they got started and what caused them to look at something different and do something different outside of the norm. So welcome, Kevin and Lynn Shelfer from Joshua Citrus.
Thank you, Mary Jo.
Hello, Mary Jo.
So I just want to, we were talking a little bit before we recorded, Kevin, about the history of what got you where you're at. So can you share that with us, where you guys started and what caused you to look at this store and expand that a little bit?
Well, we first started, we had our packing house was in town, and we had a little store there, but we packed all our own fruit, and all we did was gift fruit shipping then. Then we got into the commercial side of the business and started packing a lot of commercial fruit, and we did that for a lot of years. And then a hurricane came along and blew that packing house down in town, so we moved out here to where we are now in the groves, close to our home. And we started, when we moved out here, we closed the store because before this hurricane came, a fire came and burnt the front of the packing house, which where our store was, burned it down. So when we moved out here, we were only going to do commercial fruit. We weren't going to have a store. So we moved out here, started doing commercial fruit, and we were sending it all to a place in produce house in Atlanta, Georgia, and then it was distributed all out to the southeast, grocery stores, fruit stands, whatever. And then we did that for a few years, but along that time we said, well, we'll put some fruit out front. We're here anyway, we'll put some fruit out front. So we started selling a little bit of fruit out front, and then it just exploded from there. We had a lot more business coming out here because people wanted to come to the grove to get their fruit or juice from the grove. So that started growing, and then along came citrus greening disease, and it cut our fruit crops in half, and in some cases more than half, so it made it real hard to fill those orders in the commercial business that we had to fill. So we didn't diversify because we wanted to. We diversified because we had to. We had to do that or go out of business.
Mm-hmm. And at that point, were you getting fruit from different people? You just couldn't find enough growers to get fruit from because greening had affected so many of them?
Yes, we couldn't get, the fruit prices went very high, and we were doing a lot of fundraising throughout the southeast with FFAs, churches, schools. We did a lot. Our business was heavy into fundraising. And just to tell you how it got started, that first year, or the year when greening hit, fruit prices went through the ceiling. So we were going to have, and just like in a load of navels, I told Lynn, we're going to have $10,000 in this load of navels, and we ain't even touched it yet. And then you go to the kid takes the order form to person's house and said, yeah, Naval's has doubled this year. And they say, well, we don't think we need as many. We only need a half a package, not a whole one this time. And we've had to go out and pre-buy this fruit ahead of time for that price. So then we're liable to get stuck with $500,000 worth of fruit and can't sell it. And then that puts us at, we're done. Then we're out of business. So we quit. We quit doing commercial, and we did a little bit of commercial fruit still with the company in Atlanta, but we stopped fundraising that year. We quit doing fundraising. Then we had to lean more on the retail side of things and start doing some grow tours and things like that. And it was not easy the first few years, because it still isn't easy, because we lost a lot of income there, but it could have been, we could have went out of business too at that same time.
So did you find, were you guys ever stuck with a lot of fruit? Like in that greening stage when it first started, did you have a lot of pre-bought fruit that you couldn't sell?
No, we stopped before. We did not ever purchase any that year. We quit purchasing, we quit buying it too. And in Florida, you can see now there was probably 250 packing houses in Florida, and I would say now it's probably down to 30, because they've all went out of business, because greening has put them out of business, because it's not just hitting the fruit. The quality of fruit isn't here like it used to be. It's coming back up now. There's a lot better quality now, but it was just a bad time for the citrus industry for those 5 or 6 years.
Without saying the technical word for greening is almost unpronounceable, but can you share with the listeners just what is greening? Because those of us in my part of the country have no idea what it is, where it came from, and how it's affected your trees.
Greening is a bacteria that attacks the roots. It's spread by a citrus psyllid, and it attacks the roots of the tree. And so then of course, that affects the canopy, affects the fruit quality, size, everything.
And it's I remember you guys telling me in one of our first meetings that your inputs, correct me if I'm wrong, but your inputs have tripled because of this.
Yes, they have. Our expenses has tripled and our crop has been cut in half. But like Kevin said, it is coming back up.
And it is greening. I think people don't understand fruit. Like when I was just visiting Kevin and Lynn a couple of weeks ago, and it is unbelievable to me the amount of inputs, manual inputs there are in the citrus industry. And I can't believe that our fruit is not more expensive. But this greening came from a bug that came from China, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so this bug has a bacteria that gets into the roots and affects their trees. Now, it takes anywhere between 3 to 7 years for a tree to produce. So it's not like they can just go plant another tree, like we go seed corn and we got corn. You can't just plant another tree and expect that in a few months you're going to have a commodity to sell. They're waiting anywhere between 3 to 7 years for that commodity and babying it along the way. It really was absolutely mind-blowing to me. And now anybody that I talk to has to know what happens with their fruit, because I'm just absolutely amazed at the cost and the time and the energy. So anyway, so the greening go back in history, the greening has destroyed our trees, and you've been forced to do something else to produce an income. So you we had a fire in town and the packing house in town, and you moved that out to the groves. People love coming out to the groves. When you did that, now you said, Kevin, you didn't want to do that. You were forced to do that. Did you just grow into the store slowly? Because now you have the store and you have a juicer and you guys sell fresh juice. You sell citrus products in your little store. You do tours. You guys have a citrus festival. But did you just grow into that, or did you go, oh my gosh, this is going to be so much work, but we have to? Like, I think that some people don't want to diversify by having a pumpkin patch or by having a winery, because they see the expense in it and they have the fear that, oh, our other stuff is going to fall by the wayside. Did you ever have that fear?
I don't know. We didn't. But we did, like you just said, we got into it slowly. We started with, one bin of fruit out front. And then as people came, we just kept growing and growing. And then agritourism is huge. I don't know about where y'all are from, but it's, really getting huge in Florida, and people love to come out to our farm and our grove. And, so it has grown. It has grown. So it's not like we were like, boom, all of a sudden we've got all this work, all of this expense, because, and we're having to take care of the groves anyway. And so, also diversifying and having a store has, created jobs for people. And like our kids are working for us now, and my daughter does the marketing. And so it's created a, job for her and several other people that come and work in our store. And we're just kind of like locally famous for what we do, as well as other, agritourism businesses.
So what kind of advice do you have for those people that are scared of agritourism? Because I think that I love the fact that you're bringing the city folk into the country and saying, hey, this is how your fruit is grown. Do you have pushback? Do you have lots of hard questions? Should people be scared to give tours of their operation?
No, they should not. Well, Olivia and I, my daughter and I do the tours, and also my son and Olivia will do the tours too. But I would say 98% of the tours, people go away from here with a different attitude, just like you did. They don't, and I'm not saying you don't know anything about farming. You know plenty about farming. They know nothing. They have no idea. And it's really, we have a good time doing them and bringing people out here and educating them to what we do. And yes, it was scary to start with, but after you get into it, it's pretty rewarding, really, being able to, you meet a lot of good people. There are a couple of sour apples, but there's not too many. And then you get some hard questions, and they're expecting an answer that they would get off TV, and they just see our side of everything, and they go away with a different point of view than what they came in here with.
It's true. We've had environmental groups come out and tour, and when you hear they're coming, you're like, oh gosh, but they actually come out, and when they meet you, when they, hear your side of the story and everything, when they hear that, we don't like to spray excessively. We don't like to use water excessively because all of that costs us money. And so when they get that, when they actually think, oh, wow, of course they don't want to spend more money than they have to, then they have a whole different attitude. And we've never had anyone say anything negative once they heard our side of the story.
Mm-hmm. So. And do they leave buying something then as well and knowing that it's safe?
Every time.
Yes. They always buy something.
And can you tell us, Lynn, a little bit about what's all in your store? I mean, besides obviously your juices.
Yeah, we do ice cream, soft serve ice cream. Orange and vanilla is our most famous one, and the one we sell the most. But like when we open again in the fall, in a couple of weeks, we will have pumpkin spice ice cream. And then when we get into our regular season, we have pineapple. So sometimes we have key lime. But anyway, and we have all kinds of jams, jellies, sauces that are citrus-based, seasonings, gifts. We have, Tervis tumblers with oranges. We have some orange slice jewelry. We have, all kinds of stuff. Orange candy, candles, citrus-scented candles, whether it be lemon or grapefruit or orange. You'd be amazed at all the things you could find that, are like your commodity.
So when I was there, you guys do not grow palmettos, but your neighbor grows palmettos. And so if you're doing the pumpkin stuff and the pineapple stuff, obviously you're not growing that because your groves don't have that stuff, but you are supporting other farmers and still selling some of those products that are not directly related to you, correct?
Yes, that's true. Yes.
That's pomelos.
Yeah, pomelos.
Oh, pomelos. Okay. See, I clearly don't know anything about citrus. I don't even know.
We do grow we have a few pomelos of our own.
Oh my gosh. So apparently I did not see those.
No, you didn't.
You guys,
see those.
when I was down there, Kevin drove me through all the groves, which I have now moved on to calling them orchards because they're groves. Good for me. But the different varieties of oranges that are grown, the different varieties of lemons, I think are absolutely crazy because I go to the store and I see an orange and I think it's an orange. But how many different varieties are you growing?
About 13 different varieties.
And so is there a reason why there's so many different varieties?
They come into season at different times of the season. Our season starts mid-October, and so different varieties come in at different times. Now, grapefruit we pretty much have throughout the whole season, but the oranges, tangerines, tangelos, lemons, they all come in at different times. And then there's a lot of people, like you said, you see an orange, but so many people want a certain type of orange. So, we try to especially in the fresh fruit business, we try to have everything we can.
Okay. Now you guys will juice, right? At what point did you say, okay, we need to start juicing our own stuff and selling it because we can't sell it to the market and make the same amount of money we can make on our store?
We started juicing a long time ago. We've been juicing for quite a while, for probably 20 years. We did juice when we were in town. We didn't do the amount of juice we do now, but we've been juicing for a long time.
And people can buy it frozen and have it shipped to them, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's all unpasteurized, so no grocery store wants to touch unpasteurized. And also, instead of just the store, we hadn't touched on this, but we do 3 farmers markets during the season. Those farmers markets, we didn't do 3, we only did 1 to start with. And through all that time when we were talking about when we were kind of transitioning from commercial to retail and more local business, I think doing those farmers markets saved our business. And we had to pack up and go to those. They didn't come to us, we went to them. And it was the time when farmers markets were getting popular, and they were really good to us. Still are. They're still good. Sometimes you have to leave the farm. You have to take your goods and go somewhere else. You have to hit the road.
And in turn, that brings a lot of customers to us because they're like, oh, wow, I love your stuff. And we'll say, well, you can come see it. You can come out and to our grove and see how we do things and buy it there too. So
I hope that everybody listening hears that, what Kevin just said. Sometimes you have to go to them. You're going to have to do something outside of your comfort zone, and it might require more work to do it, but we can't just go, okay, I'm going to, for people maybe in the Midwest, I'm just going to plant corn and sell it. Maybe it is sweet corn. Maybe we do have to go to the farmer's market with sweet corn, or, whatever it is that commodity is. So not only are they packing up and going to these people and promoting and marketing their store there, but they are also that gives them an opportunity to invite people out. And so many people are worried about people don't know where their food comes from. People don't know where their food comes from. Well, are you willing to open up your operation so people can see that? Or let's just talk about the liability of it. Were you guys concerned about doing tours and having somebody fall off a wagon and the liability of it? Did you just try it? Because I think a lot of people are scared. It says, well, I don't want to be sued, so I don't want them out here.
We were scared, but we had seen a sign, and I can send you a link or what all that sign says. But and the Florida Agritourism Association has lobbied and done a really good job. And so this sign that we can purchase from them says basically, when you're here on our farm and it's a farm related activity, I hate to say do this at your own risk but basically that's kind of what it says. It says, this is a farm. If you come here and we're engaged in farm activities and you're injured or anything, then, we are not liable.
But now we have liability.
Yes, insurance. We have. Oh, we definitely have liability insurance.
And that is at the top of our list. We do worry about that. Yes, we do. We worry about that a lot, but it's in our conversations all the time. How to keep people safe. Should we do this? Should we not do that? So far, we haven't had a problem.
So can you tell us a little bit about the festival?
We have an Orange Blossom Festival in March. And that's our daughter's brainchild. And we do tours. We have a wagon, tractors pulling wagons all day long, constantly touring the Grove. We have vendors that come in and sell, stuff. And we have a bounce house for kids. We have a big slide through what is that thing that the slide is? A huge plastic culvert that kids can slide through. We cook. We have food. We have a cook shed, and we make food. We fry hamburgers, fries, hot dogs. Bands. We have bands come that they play all day long. We had usually last time we had 3 bands, and they play all day long. People come. A lot of the people that follow the bands just come, and they end up obviously spending money here. So anyway, and some of the vendors are really good. Like we have a vendor that comes in, a nurseryman that has actual citrus trees in pots that people can purchase. So that's really cool. Our local 4-H is famous for their strawberry shortcake. So we let them come and we don't charge them a vendor fee, and they can sell strawberry shortcake. What else? Citrus. The Florida Department of Citrus comes and sets up like an informational booth so people can get literature and speak to the Department of Citrus people about citrus, and
we have an Ask the Farmer booth.
We have an Ask the Farmer booth where we have cool. Local farmers come, and then people that can talk to the local farmer about his business and what he does, and
they're busy all day long talking. People, it'll surprise you the amount of questions and the people who are interested that you think are not interested in what you're doing, but the general public is very interested in what you're doing if you're a farmer.
That's very true. And we have liability insurance for day-to-day things, but for that festival we get special event insurance. So we rent tents and chairs, and everything. So and it's kind of a neat little thing.
It's a big expense too, and that was real scary the first time because the bands don't come cheap. Nobody comes cheap, and we worried about how many people. And at the end of the first day, the first time, we worried about how many people because there was a lot of them. There was too many people here. Is what we thought. We got 1,100 people the first day, and we were happy if we'd have got 300 or 400. It just went crazy. So then that really worries you about the liability thing. But we get the extra insurance for that day, and we try to keep everything. It takes a lot more people to help run that too. So it's a big expense, but and the first year we didn't lose money. We didn't make money, but we got a lot of exposure out of something like that. So if you were going to do a fall festival on your place, it really, it helped us a lot. It gets our name out there more than anything.
And we have a sheriff's deputy come, off-duty sheriff's deputy in uniform come and just, walk around and be part of the crowd. And so I think that helps too.
Mm-hmm. I think it's great because you're educating people, you're helping your local 4-H, you're helping your other local businesses because they can be vendors there. So it's not just Joshua Citrus looking out for Joshua Citrus. You're opening your arms and saying, how else can we help the community and educate the people that are buying our product as well? Because it kind of stinks that maybe you have to answer to those people what you're doing, but they are the people you're selling a product to, and they want to make sure that it's a safe product. So I think that that's fantastic. Granted, I don't have to do the work. Right? I don't have to put it all on. What you guys should have is do you know where most of your your people, because you do not live in a big town. Now, they're in Arcadia, Florida. I was in Arcadia. It's tiny. Well, I mean, I didn't get to see the whole town, but it's pretty tiny. So do you guys know where the majority of your attendees or even your customers come from?
Our area is very seasonal. We have snowbirds that come and stay in our town. And when you were here, they weren't here. But during the winter, they come from all over. And so all of our mobile home parks are full. And we have a lot of people we're about 30 miles from the coast. And, the coast of Florida obviously is very populated. So we have a lot of people coming from Port Charlotte, Punta Gorda, Sarasota. So anyway, we do have a lot. It's surprising the amount of people we have come here.
Have you seen that other people are trying to do what you do?
Yes, we have seen that. Mm-hmm.
Are they local, or do you go to your, because you're I don't know how active you are, but you seem to be active in just the Florida Citrus Growers Association or whatever it is. And do you have other people that are asking you, how did you do that? Because I want to do that where I'm at. And are you helping those people?
We do. We don't have other citrus growers that are doing it, but local ranches have gotten big into the event venue thing, and the ranch festival type thing. So, but yeah, in fact, friends of ours, they have a ranch that they asked us a lot of questions, and we told them what all we knew, and they've started their own. They call theirs a family fest, but anyway, yeah, I think a lot of people are doing it in the state of Florida, and there's a Florida Agritourism Association, and wherever your other clients might be, there's probably a state agritourism association that will help, with advice or, whatever. And
if there isn't one, there probably should be one.
Right.
I have not heard of one in North Dakota, but that doesn't mean that there isn't one. But maybe there needs to be one. And, there always has to be the guinea pig to try it, to say, I'll risk it and I'll do it, because that's what you guys did out of necessity. But we don't have to you grew into it. So people don't have to think that they have to do everything you're doing tomorrow. It's not a all or nothing approach, right? Start slow and grow into it, but do something different, because greening was going to kill your business. It was going to kill the citrus industry in the US. It has to some extent, but we have to do something to keep that alive. And you just had to think outside the box, which I don't really like that saying, but you had to just think of something different. And what are we going to do, and be willing to work for it?
Yep, that's true.
And another thing about the tourism thing, if you know where something's going on, go see what they're doing.
Yes, we definitely did that.
Mm-hmm. We found all these places around that were doing the tourism stuff, and we went there, and we picked up ideas from those places. That's the best thing to do, is find those places and go there. Or if you know a place it doesn't have to be tourism, just anything. You were telling us about some things in North Dakota. You just need to go see what's drawing people. Why are those people coming here? And maybe that's something we should think about doing.
Mm-hmm. And you also think that, people just really, they don't care what we're doing, or, what that they really do. And people in our area are just dying for something to do on a Saturday or whatever. They're just, someplace to take their kids, or I don't know, a lot of people, they're just looking for something to do. And every time anything like that happens in our area, it's very well supported.
And I think that's I think you drive around and people don't, when we were driving around, everything we saw was groves it was some sort of citrus grove, or it was watermelon, or it was something being grown. But of course, I asked, when I went down, I told Kevin and Lynn, I don't want to go to the beach. I don't want to go to touristy spots. I want to see the agriculture. And so that's where they took me. So that's what we saw. But people that live, just because people live there doesn't mean they know what's happening. Just because people drive across North Dakota and see corn and wheat on every corner, it doesn't mean they know what's happening there. And so having something to show them and taking your time to have that tour and show them what you're doing, I think is super important. And I love the fact that you guys are you've implemented that into the store. So is there any other, before we end this, is there any other advice that you would give somebody that is looking to diversify?
I think we've covered everything, but, like I would say, don't be afraid and start slow. And like Kevin said, go look, go see what other people are doing and get ideas from them.
Right. Because I think if what you're doing now isn't working, you better be looking for something else to do.
You got to look, and you will be afraid, but you just got to, sometimes a little fear is good.
So if we want, now we can order stuff from Joshua Citrus. So where do we go to find you?
JoshuaCitrus.com.
Okay.
And we are on Facebook and Instagram. And so you can follow. We try to put, what we're doing, activities, what we're doing on Facebook and Instagram. But we do have a website. Citrus is not in season until mid-November. So can't order yet, but anyway, or you can call us 800-749-8219 and we can take your order now for future shipment.
Awesome. Thank you both for sharing your story, and hopefully we are giving or providing somebody else a little bit of hope of what they can do outside of just praying that the market is going to do exactly what it needs to do for them.
Yeah, one thing that we would love to be able to do here that we can't, that a lot of your clients probably can, is a corn maze. Corn does not grow well here or thick here, and we would love to have a corn maze, but we can't do that. But
you could have a grove maze.
A grove maze, yeah.
That's funny. We take for granted corn mazes. I mean, we do have them, and then they have them at night, and they're supposed to be spooky. And
right.
That's funny. We take those for granted, or I do anyway. I'm like, oh, it's just another corn maze.
Yeah.
But it's a great thing for kids to have, or for kids to do. We've done one. But yeah, I never even thought of that. Because you guys can't have we have a pumpkin patch here that has the play pit with corn in it. And you guys can't do that either, huh?
Yeah, we can.
We did do that once. We did that once. The corn, we'd build a box and, put the corn in it. But yeah, we have done that.
We went and bought a ton of corn and poured in there.
Kids loved it too. Yeah. They loved it. So yeah, we can do that.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. And I hope that everybody listening enjoyed this edition of Farming Without the Bank podcast. And hopefully we will have more of these kind of interviews on so we can get ideas of what everybody else is doing. So thanks for listening and have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the Farming Without the Bank podcast. We hope today's episode has inspired you to take control of your finances in new ways. Don't forget to check out our website, farmingwithoutthebank.com, and engage with us on our Facebook page, Farming Without the Bank. Join us next week as we smash more financial myths and empower you to accomplish your financial goals.